Hi, everyone. My name is Francis Macdonald, and I am CEO of Lift Power. And Lift is a lithium exploration and development company that's focused in Canada, and we are looking for hard rock lithium deposits or spodumene deposits. We have 3 projects in the portfolio. The Yellowknife project is our flagship, and what this project is, the Yellowknife area is a pegmatite district, and we have the majority of the deposits within that district. So that's really what we're focusing on right now.
Francis, good to see you. I think we caught up in Quebec very briefly, and as I joked there, and then I think everyone wants to be you guys at the moment, knocking it out of the park. Just put out some results. Let's talk through those first. Not too bad. Good reaction from the market?
Yeah, it was good reaction from the market. We had a lot of volume come in, so a lot of new buying. There's some, let's say, looser shares that have been in it for a while that were waiting for some news, and we've been talking about this for 6 months. These are the first drill results, so we're kind of shaking that out and cleaning that up. And I think from now on, the price is going to really start appreciating as we keep putting out news. That's really positive.
Well, yeah, you are going to be putting out news because it's a 45,000 meter drill program fully funded. So this is the early presentation of some of those results. What can we look forward to sort of seeing, Q3, Q4 in terms of the numbers coming out?
So like you said, we're doing a 45,000 meter drill program that started in June. And so, we're about 7 weeks after the start of the drill program, which is pretty standard for first results. Like any drill program, we start off slow. We started with 2 rigs and now we've scaled up to 5 rigs. We're currently drilling 4 different pegmatites. And so as we go, this is the first news release, and then the frequency and the amount of news is really just going to start to increase from here, going into September and October.
Right. So given that when we've talked in the past, this spodumene pegmatites, at surface, I think you used the phrase, it's big, it's white, and you can see it from space with me. What have you learned from the drilling so far? I know it's early days, but what have you learned in terms of the way that you need to drill these pegmatites out to kind of give a true reflection of what you've actually got?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. It really is just drilling underneath these outcrops. And so these first 5 holes that we released a couple of days ago, the targeting was exactly that. Very simple. We had high grade channel samples at surface. And so that's just taking outcrop, taking a channel across the whole thing. It was 35 meters at 1.6% lithia, and we drilled under it and we're getting similar type of numbers. So pretty simple. We just continue to execute on the plan, which is to drill these things off systematically, and we're going to get an answer of how much lithium is there by the end of this year.
Right. And in terms of just trying to understand these pegmatites better, in terms of these sort of cigar-shaped deposits, obviously you can sort of drill down the core, make it nice and easy, and the numbers would be quite sexy. Or how do you kind of work out where they go, how long they are, what sort of intervals are you drilling at to try and actually understand exactly what you've got?
Sure. So what we're doing is we're drilling these at 100 meter centers. And when I say that, that's 100 meters along strike, so along the surface trace of it, and then 100 meters in the vertical direction as well. So that gives you a 100 meter grid basically in 3D. And I wouldn't say that these are like cigars. I would say it's more like a book, so you've got a book that's going into the earth, and it's a planar feature. We're just aiming the drill at that plane and drilling across it. So that's the strategy. 100 meter centers is typically what people are using for an inferred classification for a mineral resource estimate. And this is really a combination between an exploration program, but it's also resource definition at the same time.
Right. Okay. And when do you expect to finish the 45,000 meter drill program? I mean, you've got a number of, how many rigs have you got? 4, 5, 6?
We have 5 right now that are drilling, and there's a 6th rig that will be starting in about 10 days. And then It'll be 6 rigs until we finish, which right now is looking like mid-October to late October.
Right. Okay. So pretty rapid. And you're focusing on, are you calling the FI Southwest or FI?
Yeah, Phi Southwest. Yeah. So Phi Southwest is what we put the initial drill results out on.
Right.
And so we've drilled Phi Southwest, Phi Main, Shorty, and Big East, and we are starting to drill the Kai pegmatite today. So we're going to be drilling 8 different pegmatites this summer. So it's It's a target-rich environment. There's a lot of deposits. We're going to be drilling them all. And that's the idea is we want to get an idea. We want to get an idea of how much lithium is in the ground as quickly as possible by the end of this year.
Right. And so they're all sort of within a kind of, well, within 50 kilometers, as indicated by your marketing material. But what are the other things that you want to try and work out quite quickly in terms of, obviously, I know you just started drilling, but at some point you want to kind of get into the metallurgy and sort of understand the quality of what you've got. Maybe it could infer what the economics could be of something much further down the line. So what's that list look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. Metallurgy is definitely the next thing to start looking at. And so we'll be starting to collect those samples in August, I think. We've had to complete an archaeology study on these, which has been completed. There's no issues. And so we're just waiting for the final report to come back from that says we're clear. But it's you can't start going to blow up outcrops if you need to do an archaeological study. You don't want to blow up something that might be of value to First Nations. So we've done that, and we will be collecting those samples this year. Those will go to the lab probably September, October, and then it's about a 6-month process at the lab to get the results.
Right. And I'm also very conscious, I haven't actually asked you about some of the grades that we're seeing here. They're sort of exceptional compared to a lot of your peers at the moment. Can you just remind me of the numbers that we saw?
Sure. I mean, the best intersect, or the highest grade out of this press release, was 39 meters at 1.43% lithia, and that's including 35 meters at 1.57%. And so what we've been doing when we compile these drill intersects is, on these pegmatites, there's typically a barren margin on them, but we're including all of that in the interval, because when you go to mine these things, you're not going to be able to tell, is this barren or is it not? You're going to throw the whole pegmatite in the mill. So it's important, we're trying to be as conscious of these kind of things as possible and report it in as accurate as a way as possible. But the high grade core of it is exceptional. Like you said, 1.57, 1.58% lithia is exceptionally high grade.
Right. Okay. And if we're looking at, so I mean, this call's really just to talk to you and say, try and understand, what you're seeing, what you're feeling, maybe what you're changing in terms of, how you approach this. It sounds like you can stick to the plan and get through this drill program, double quick time. What does that mean for the rest of the portfolio? You've referenced obviously the other project, Cali project in Northwest Territories. You've got assets down in was it Quebec Greenfields, I think. Do you feel obliged to actually do anything with those yet, or is this a case of let's get one thing right and prove that to the market, and we'll get around to those at some point?
Yeah. So for Cali, we hadn't set foot on the ground, but we actually made a trip out there about a month ago, and that was great. We'd looked at this on a computer screen and read reports about it for a year, and setting foot on the ground was really enlightening to see what we actually had. So what we were seeing was that there's boulder fields over a huge area that it's just all high-grade spodumene. And that's what's been reported in the past. Also, what's been reported in the past is a 60-meter wide spodumene pegmatite. And that's, I think what we're seeing is a dike swarm. And when I say swarm, it's a bunch of stacked dikes that are coming in together. So there's a huge amount of spodumene pegmatite over about a 150-meter wide corridor. But we don't really understand how thick the dikes are in bedrock. And we're not going to understand that until we drill. So right now we've been working on permitting a drill program. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get that in time to drill this year, but we're really pushing on it as a team. So we'll see. It's kind of as expected. We still don't know actually how big it is, but there is definitely a spodumene resource there because there's just spodumene all over the place. Right. So that's Cali. And then in Quebec, we've been doing a big program. And just like everybody else in the James Bay region, we've been shut down due to the forest fires. So we're getting a bit of a reprieve on that right now. And it looks like we'll be able to get crews back in the field within about a week. So there's a lot of surface work that's going on. So mapping, prospecting, till sampling, we're doing everything that we can basically this summer in order to prove up drill targets.
Okay, fine. And you've got early stage exploration going on as well at Rupert and Pontax.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Cool. Okay, and just again, for the sake of people perhaps new to this story, money's good. You raised a chunk of change earlier in the year. You're good for how long?
Yeah, so we started June with I think 47 million, and we obviously needed to put a lot of down payments down. We built a camp that's 49 people, and that was just completed in the last 2 weeks. So to date on Yellowknife, we've spent about $9 million. We've drilled over 10,000 meters to date. So you look at that and it's about $900 a meter, but a lot of that is front end loaded because we had to make all these payments in the beginning. So we're actually under budget right now in Yellowknife, and we had budgeted 30 million for this drill program. So I'm hoping that we'll come in under that, which would be great. And we should end the year with probably about 8 to 10 million. So we're still in pretty good financial shape after we've completed all of this exploration.
Right. And in terms of, obviously you're attracting a lot of inbound, you're attracting a lot of people. In terms of the team itself, this started off as a simple exploration story. It's got a little bit bigger than that. You still feel in control? Do you feel that perhaps the board needs a bit more beefing up? You have raised a lot of money. You will probably continue to raise money, hopefully at higher rates. Is that something that's on the list, the to-do list?
I think right now the team is really firing. And when you start a company like this and you try and do a massive program like we're trying to do, it's really essential to have the right people in the right places. So, and when you bring new people in, it takes everybody a bit of time to start functioning as a team. So we built the team, and now everybody is really starting to gel. Super happy with everything that's happening within the team. So it's all firing. And so I think we just keep pushing forward. We'll have the ability to raise more capital if we need it. And it really comes down to see what we come out with on this drill program. We have the capital to probably get enough drilling to an inferred resource, but we're not sure. We might need to do some additional drilling in some places.
Right. Okay. And so, I mean, obviously, it's been a great start. It's been a great reaction by the marketplace as well, and the share price. Tight share registry helps with all of that. But in terms of how you're feeling about when you look around at your peers, when you look around at the market, equities market more broadly, what do you feel you've kind of got right in terms of the way that you've set this up, or is it all just because the ground is giving up what it's giving up?
I think there's a lot of things. I think the share structure and the people involved are really important, and everybody being on the same team and having the same motivations is really important to make a company function. So I think we got that right in the beginning. The ground is obviously incredible. It's a world-class opportunity. There's not many things out there in the world like this, so that's very important. Lithium prices have softened in the last week, so we are facing a bit of headwinds from that, and also equity markets, like you said, are also soft right now. So we're in the summer, we're in August, well, almost in August, and people be on vacation, and so we're really hoping that in September things start firing again. I would say the macro case I don't think has really changed, and like I've said before, I think of it simplistically. All the conversations I have with mining companies, car manufacturers, no one really knows where the lithium is going to come from. So that hasn't changed. You don't see new lithium mines coming online and starting to produce every day. I think there's only been 1 or 2 this year. So that hasn't changed. Prices obviously will fluctuate, but I think we're still in a great macro environment for things to keep moving.